Hi, my name is Dr. Christine Harrington, and I was thrilled to hear that you're considering my textbook, Student Success in College, Doing What Works. Let me tell you a little bit about why I wrote the text and some of the features that I think you might find useful for your class and your students. When I was teaching the course, I really kind of got frustrated with the lack of academic rigor in the textbooks, and I wanted to really raise the bar for students and challenge them to do a much more academically rigorous type of approach to the course. And one of the ways that I did that was by finding student success research. In my experience as a psychologist, my students were coming to my classes in psychology really unprepared and unable to really read the rigorous material I wanted them to read and be able to extract the key findings from it. So I thought about it and I said, well, why don't I just bring that into the student success course, because I'm looking for some more substance, some more content really in that course anyway. And it was a great way to kind of do content and process simultaneously. So what happened was I started to bring to my students the research behind the strategy. So we moved away from an advice-based kind of approach to really much more of an academic focus of the course, where they're looking and reading original peer-reviewed research studies on student success. And while we were doing that, they're also learning how to use these scholarly sources. And in my experience, what I've discovered that many colleges are very, very good at showing students how to find articles in the library databases. Many first-year courses have a library component where we take students there. But what was lacking was a systematic, consistent way to teach students what to do with those articles once they found them. So in my student success class, I was really kind of raising the bar, and I also had to raise the support in order to help them read these high-level scholarly sources. Now, I'll tell you, when I first started this approach, I had some colleagues who were thinking that this wasn't a good fit. I work at a community college where students who are in 2 or more developmental courses are taking our student success course, so their reading and writing skills certainly are not up to par in terms of the college level. And yet they were able to successfully do the task when provided with the right level of support. So what we basically did was we found peer-reviewed journal articles that were short and very much applicable to their life as a college student. So trying to, give them articles that were doable and also supporting them in that process. So basically what I did was walk them through all the articles, and you'll see in MindTap, for instance, I have narrated screencasts of all the articles. So I'm telling them things like, this is the abstract, it's just another word for summary. You want to really make sure you're not skipping that part. It's one of the most important parts of an article. We're moving down, to the introduction, and I'll tell them in that section you're going to see all the background information about the topic, and then you're really going to get to the heart of it, is why did they conduct this specific research study. And then you'll get to see in the method who participated and what those participants had to do. And then, of course, the results is going to answer that research question. So I kind of walk them through all that process. And I have found that that really has increased their confidence in being able to look at scholarly sources. It has certainly increased the academic products I'm receiving in all of my classes, not the first year courses only, but also the psychology classes I teach, because they're not afraid to dive into the databases, look at original research, and be able to extract the key findings from it. So I think that this approach is really very valuable to students. It really kind of gives them that additional skill set that sometimes is lacking in the first year courses. Now let me tell you about a couple of features in the second edition that I think you'll find pretty useful. One of the most obvious ones is that there is an original research study in every chapter, so that gives you an opportunity to have a shared content that is content and process at the same time. Again, it gives you student success strategies that really work and teaching students how to read those articles. In addition to that, you also will find an Exploring the Research in Summary, which is just a brief kind of synopsis of a different study in each chapter. Beyond that, there's over 300 references in the text, and I would say probably 80 to 85% of those are from original research studies. And that is definitely unique in the student success marketplace, because although other texts do have citations, they are often what I would call softer ones that aren't from original research studies, but they might be just citing what another professional in the field has said. So this is really a book that's going to bring that research and bring it into the students in a very practical, user-friendly way. Another really neat feature for the second edition is the feature called Quick Quizzes. And I'm sure you're very familiar with the testing effect. You know, there's a lot of psychological studies that speak to how powerful testing or practice retrieval really is when studying. So the quick quiz feature throughout the chapters, you'll see them scattered after every major heading, is a great way for students to get, you know, just familiarized with that valuable task of really quizzing themselves and seeing whether or not they're on the right track. These features are all integrated into MindTap. So MindTap has the quick quizzes automated into it. It's digitized. It has some of the time for actions digitized. In the beginning of every chapter, I'm doing a narrated screencast to help students understand how to understand and interpret the articles. You'll also find author videos. So I just spend a minute or two at different points of the chapter sharing some key concepts with students about that section. And I also have some of my very own students from Middlesex County College in the MindTap as well, giving kind of the student perspective of some of the strategies that work well for them too. So I hope that you'll find all of those strategies to be pretty useful. In addition, for faculty, I've really kind of stepped it up. I'm the director of our Faculty Development Center at my college, and I really think it's important to support faculty through this process as well. So I have a very robust instructor resource manual, and I hear it's kind of unique that the author creates most of those materials, but in this case, I've created all of the instructor support materials, which includes PowerPoint slides that are very visual, so there's a lot of smart art and images, which is very consistent with Mayer's multimedia research. And actually there's a section in the text that talks about the principles of effective multimedia, and I think you'll find that the PowerPoint slides that go along with this text really do best practice. In addition to that, there's also a robust test bank. So every chapter has 100 questions, 85 multiple choice, and 15 short answers. And those are, again, to support faculty, make it easier for you to create quizzes and tests, because we want to really encourage the practice of retrieval testing effect with our students. So those are just a few of the samples of the kinds of things that are available to you with this text, and I hope that you find it to be a good match for you and your course learning outcomes. And I want to just extend an invitation to you. If you'd like to reach out to me, I'm happy to really partner with you to try to help your students be as successful as possible and to help you in terms of supporting your faculty. So feel free to either give me an email or a phone call, and we can certainly find a time to connect and kind of work towards whatever your course goals are. So my email address is just charrington@middlesexcc.edu, and I'll give you my cell phone number, which is 732-690-2090. Please feel free to reach out, and I wish you all the best as you determine which book is going to best meet the needs of your students. Thanks.